everything here that I need. I think I do. Okay. Good morning. Welcome to my kitchen again. Give those babies their treats, and that way they'll go in and maybe not be so interruptive. You never know. So anyway, as you've seen from my thumbnail, we're going to be doing a lot of breakfast this morning. This was on my thumbnail, and we're going to first start off with a sheet pan of bacon, and we're going to get this started in the oven. And what I'm doing is I'm making some bulk breakfast meals that I'll be able to put in the freezer. And I put my bacon, of course, in a sheet pan. I have it lined in parchment paper. I went ahead and just covered this with plastic. I got it ready, put it in the refrigerator. So we'll be able to get started. Now, the pan that I'm using this morning has a rack because I'm going to be catching my bacon grease. So I do have it lined in parchment paper, I do have it on a rack, and I have it in my sheet pan. And I'm going to set it in my oven. I'm just going to bake it at 350 degrees. So when that preheats, I'll go ahead and get that started. Then I am going to make, I've got my muffin pans ready, and I have them just on a lined aluminum foil cookie sheet, and I will be making some breakfast muffins. So we'll get started on those. I'm going to be making some different breakfast muffins, maybe some bacon, egg, and cheese, and sausage, egg, and cheese breakfast muffins. Then I'm going to be doing a bulk scrambled eggs, and I'm going to be using the new beautiful frying pan that has the lid holder. I love that. And I'm going to go ahead and do my eggs first because I just want scrambled eggs. I want them to be plain. And then I'm going to be putting those into containers, and they will become breakfast freezer meals. And I'm just going to be using aluminum pans, and these did come with plastic lids. So I'll be putting some breakfast meals. Once I do everything, I'll be putting together some breakfast meals, putting them in some aluminum pans. Hi, good morning. And then we'll be putting these into the freezer. So, but this is the new beautiful that I had unboxed on one of my live streams. If you go back, you'll see the box. And it is the non-stick electric skillet. And I absolutely love this lid holder. What an absolutely wonderful idea. So if you're busy, you can just put your lid up there. Everything's going to drop back into your pan. It's not dropping on your counter space. So we'll be using this to make scrambled eggs. And again, that is by Beautiful, and it's the electric skillet. We'll be doing sheet pan bacon. As soon as the oven is warmed up enough, we'll get that started. We're going to be making some breakfast muffins. And then I'm also going to be doing some of the home fries like I cut up yesterday on my live stream. We're going to be doing the home fries in the electric skillet as well. So all this today is about breakfast. So I've got my oven on. It's preheating to 350 degrees. And then I will get my sheet pan bacon. Which that light's really bright. I'll get my sheet pan bacon then put into the oven. So I'm going to turn it back on so I'll be able to see what I'm doing. So I have a few things laid out. I've got some shredded cheddar cheese. I had put in the freezer in divided it up into individual packets. So I know this is at least a couple cups. I have some of my frozen home fries that I make by putting them in the crock pot, like I showed on one of my live streams this week. I put them in the crock pot, I steam them, and then I let them cool, and then I went ahead and let them sit in the refrigerator overnight covered, and then I just took them out and diced them, divided them up into quart freezer bags. So you'll see that on my live stream yesterday. So we're going to be making some home fries, and then I'm going to be also making some bacon and sausage over here in the electric cooker. So this is a lot of breakfast. It's all breakfast today. And the reason I'm using the sheet pan, doing the bacon on the sheet pan in the oven, is I do have my rack. I do have it lined in parchment paper because I will be saving this bacon grease. So I don't know if you cook with bacon grease, or especially on a Blackstone grill. So I do have, which you don't have to have this, I do have a bacon grease container, and this one does come with a nice little screen. So whenever I'm putting my bacon grease in, that's catching everything. But you do not need a fancy bacon grease catcher. You can just strain your grease into a regular container. And if I know that I'm not going to be using all of this at once, I'll go ahead and put some of it in a container like this, and I'll go ahead and freeze it. And I know that way it's going to stay good for a long time. Now what I'm going to be using regular, if I know it's going to be an everyday use, I'll leave this out on the counter. If I know that I may have a few days in between, I'll just set this right in the refrigerator, and then that's going to hold my bacon grease. So that's why I'm doing the sheet pan bacon today, is because I need some more bacon grease. We're going to be using the Blackstone a lot, and I want some bacon grease. It's excellent for if you're making anything on your grill. It helps to, especially if it's a new Blackstone like mine, it helps to season your Blackstone grill by using your bacon grease. And then I'm also going to show you how I put together something else for my Blackstone grill, or my griddles. And this is just a used gallon container, and you can see I wrote lard on that all the way around so that I know that this is lard. And this was just a vanilla ice cream container. And I'll go ahead and buy my lard. In boxes like this. And then I'll show you how I divide this up and what I do with this. So if I'm using the Blackstone, I have my lard ready. And with lard, you want to watch your date. This one says it expires January 15, 2027. So I'll show you what I do with my lard and how I use it. And when you're storing lard in your pantry, it can leak if it gets a little bit warm. So to keep it from making a mess, I just save my old ice cream containers, and I have 4 boxes. And then that way I know when this is stored in my pantry in a cool, dark place, that it's not going to leak down on anything in my pantry. And I know that it's going to help it to protect it from any rodents as well. And I can go through and check it and make sure that, you know, nothing has chewed into it. And this is just more of a clean, sanitary way for me to put it into the pantry until I'm ready to do what I'm going to be doing today, later on live stream, and showing you what I do and how I store that. So my oven is preheated to 350. Then we're going to go ahead and get the bacon in. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my light back on. I know you can't see. I've got some eggs laid out. because we're going to be making some breakfast muffins. And we're going to be making some breakfast freezer meals. And I'm going to be putting those into some metal containers with plastic lids. And I just got these, I think, through Walmart, and there was a lot of them in the pack. And if you are storing, you're going to hear my puppies in the background. We have 7 Maltese, and we're real life here. They're 8 weeks old, and they are playing. I have a big playpen set up in the living room for them. But if you are going to be freezing using your aluminum pans, to keep it from getting freezer burnt, I like to get these that have the lid, the plastic lid, and then you want to make sure that you wrap it really good with plastic before you put it in the freezer. That way you can eliminate freezer burn. So these I'm going to be using for my breakfast meals that I'm going to be preparing today. And I'm going to be using my oven, so I'm going to turn on my exhaust fan. And I'm going to be using my beautiful electric frying pan. So let's get started. Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. We're going to have a busy bulk breakfast making video this morning, live stream. So I'm going to get me a drink of coffee because it always gets cold before I get back to it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go over here. I've got my oven preheating. Now I'm just going to go over here to this beautiful, and it's made by Beautiful, electric frying pan. It does come with a lid. And I had a live stream where I unboxed this and showed everything. I really like it because it has little feet on it. So once you're done, if you want to serve, you can serve, and then that moves your hot plate. And if you want to carry everything, it does have the double handles, so you can get a hold of it. And this one came with an extra bonus that I really love. It has a lid holder. So while I'm cooking on this, I can just set my lid right there, so all my steam or any grease or anything that's coming up on my lid is going to drip right back into my frying pan. So I absolutely love that. So it comes with all of that, and then of course it has your controller. And this one also comes with a steaming rack, and it does have little legs on the steaming rack. I'm not going to be using the steaming rack today. So let me go ahead and get this plugged in and turned on. And I'm going to make my eggs first because I want some plain scrambled eggs. So I'm going to get that. Let me turn this so I can get this on. I do want my plain scrambled eggs. So I'm just going to do them first and get started. And this is very nice. I've used it before on the live stream. You can go back and check out that live stream if you want to. And I did do like my review, and I'm not affiliated with them in no way. I purchased this for the camper, and I wanted to try it out at home. And if it's a hot day and you don't want to heat up your oven, or if you're in an RV or camper, this is really nice. So I'm going to move you back. My oven's preheated, so I'm going to go ahead and get my sheet pan bacon in the oven. So let's go ahead and get this started in here. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to move you over here where I have a little bit more space because we are still remodeling, and we halted the remodeling because we purchased the new property and we're going to be moving the mobile home. So this part of my kitchen has not been finished remodeling. So I'm just going to go ahead and scramble some eggs and get those ready. Let me just get this. And my puppies are having a blast in the living room, so you're going to hear them wrestling and playing. And I'm going to scramble up several eggs, as you're going to see here. Let me get me a small trash bag. So I'm not running back and forth and in and out of frame. And yes, my hands are clean. If you watch my videos, I'll probably wash my hands 15 or 20 times during a live stream. So we'll go ahead and get some eggs whipped up, and then we'll get them in the frying, in the electric frying pan. And I love to make bulk breakfast meals and different meals for my freezer. So for a family of 2, I do this one large bulk cooking, and then I have all these meals. All I have to do is just go into the freezer, and they're ready for me to just take out. I usually set them in the refrigerator overnight to thaw, unless it's a freezer meal that I've made that I can just take straight from the freezer and bake it, like a lasagna or something like that. So most of these I'll take out of the freezer, leave them in the refrigerator overnight to thaw, and then they're ready for the next morning or the next day. Okay, that's 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm going to do about 10 eggs. I might as well just do 12. Let's do an even dozen. Because I'm going to be making several bulk meals. And my husband is home today. He's not in town. So he's going to get a nice brunch. Okay. Let me wash my hands. I love making bulk meals and just having them in the freezer and ready to go. And if you're cooking for a family of 2, like I do, this way you're not wasting. You can divide it up into equal portion meals. And I hope you can see that okay. And that way you're not wasting. You're cooking once and you have multiple meals. And I absolutely love that. Because I'm very busy, and especially now with the 7, 8-week-old Maltese puppies. Of course, they're getting older, so they do need a lot of attention and love. And I spent yesterday morning doing a live stream, and then yesterday afternoon was my grooming day. So all 7 puppies had their baths and was groomed, and so that took up my afternoon. So everybody had all the love and attention and grooming. And I did not get Mommy and Daddy Maltese groomed and bathed and everything yesterday, so they are patiently waiting for theirs today. They absolutely love their spa days, is what I call it, and my husband calls it. It's like they're having their own spa day. I just want to mix these up really good because I want to just do a basic egg scramble over in the electric skillet. And I'm trying to watch my meals, what I'm fixing, to make everything more healthy, because my husband does have several stents he's put in, and I'm trying to make everything as healthy as possible. Um, I was saying yesterday I invested in a grain mill so I can grain my own flours. And I love to cook from scratch because that way I know there's no extra additives. I can control the amount of salt and all of the different additives. So let me go ahead and get this over here and then I'll move you over. Hopefully I'm not moving you too fast. Okay, now I'm going to let you concentrate on this, not on me. Oh, that got something on it. Okay, so I'm just going to set this on about medium. I don't want it on high because I don't want these to overcook. And this is just going to be a basic scramble, egg scramble. Now, when you're using this, of course, you don't want to use metal. You don't want to scratch it. So I'm just going to use a spatula. And I'm just going to put a wee bit of oil. I think I've got some olive oil. I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil in here. It is non-stick. I may not even need it. But I'm going to go ahead and just add a wee little bit of olive oil in it. I'm going to let this heat up, and then I'm going to go ahead and just do a basic egg scramble first. So, I don't want this to get too warm, and it's heating up quick. So I'm going to move it back to a medium low, because I don't want these to overcook. And I'm just going to go ahead and get these started. And this heats up so nice. This is new, and I was showing how when I got it in. And I purchased it for the camper, and I haven't gotten it to the camper yet, so I thought I'll take advantage of that this morning and use it. Okay, so I'm just going to do a basic scramble, nothing special at all. And I have a couple of my new storage containers that I got in, the glass with the lid. And I'm just going to move these as I'm preparing them over into some of these little storage containers. And I just got out two. So I'm just going to let that sit there for just a minute. And let's see. What else was I going to do? I think that was all. I'm going to take this one thing at a time so I'm not overwhelming you. We have the bacon on the baking sheets, lined with parchment paper on a rack in the oven, because we're going to be saving that bacon grease and putting it in my bacon grease container. I may want to turn it up just a little bit. I'm just getting used to this. It's new. This is only the second time I've used it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it, since I'm right here, I'm going to go ahead and turn it up to a medium to try to speed this up because we're on a live stream. Go ahead and pop those bubbles that are coming up. I'm just going to turn it up for a few minutes on medium, and then I'll probably turn it back down. Tammy, get your spatula out of there. And I just kind of want them to form on the bottom a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and do a scramble. get in here. My grandmother always says, don't touch the eggs. Let them form on the bottom and then do a flip. So I'm trying to let them form. And I really like this non-stick. It's amazing. Just gonna pop those few bubbles there. I'm just going around and loosen my outside. Still not ready. Sometimes I get in a little bit of a hurry. Normally I'm doing something else, which I could have went ahead and done something else, but it will be just fine. That way I can set that spatula down and it's not in front of my camera. I did not add any salt or any pepper to this. I'm just doing a basic egg scramble because I'm going to be turning these into different freezer meals, breakfast freezer meals. So do you all enjoy making large bulk breakfast freezer meals? Okay, I think I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and turn it. It's probably not ready yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half. I don't want it to get too brown on the bottom. I'm going to cut this in half. And then I'm going to cut it again. So I'm going to do quarter. And now I can feel that it's getting done on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and get this flipped. Because I don't want these overdone. These are going to become scrambled. So let me just get these quartered. And I'm going to go ahead and flip those. Now, does this work out every time? Absolutely not. But we're giving it a try. And I'm trying to do this and be off to the side so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm a little clumsy here. But we will get it done. I'm going to turn that back down to medium low. Well, I'm making a mess doing this from the side, but it will be just fine. And I'm just basically doing these like an egg scramble. Nothing added to this morning, just basic. We'll give them a few minutes on that side. And I'm going to be using this frying pan for several things this morning. So if you don't want to heat up your kitchen, if it's hot, these are absolutely wonderful. Okay, let's go ahead and give it one more flip. Not so gracefully, but flipped. I want to make sure that I don't have any uncooked egg on there. Give them a few minutes on that side, and then I'll flip them back over, just to make sure I don't have any uncooked egg. And then I'm going to go ahead and move them over to my bowls. And I am messing with my trash. There it is. And I absolutely love this. It was inexpensive. I got this through Walmart. And it is the Beautiful, made by Beautiful, and it's the frying pan. And I will eventually get this taken up to the camper. I've just been quite busy and haven't gotten everything moved over to the camper yet. So I'm taking advantage of it. It's still here. Okay, I'm going to give those just a few minutes on that side, and then I'm going to go ahead and move them over to some storage containers. And I'm going to be cutting these one more time, because these are going to be portions for 2 people, myself and my husband. So I'm not doing this for a large family, and these are going to become breakfast freezer meals. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those in half one more time. Alright, that looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put these in one of my glass storage containers. Whoops. It's a little awkward doing it from the side, but hey, we will get through this. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. And these are going to become breakfast meals. Breakfast freezer meals. If you are using this and you do have small little children, this pan does get hot, so you want to make sure that you are supervising while you're using this, because it does get hot on the sides. I just thought I might want to mention that. See if I can't just flop the rest of it right out of there. Okay, so that's going to give me my egg scrambles. So I've got that done. I'm going to go ahead and just let this cool a minute. So while that's cooling, I'm going to bring you over here. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I want to do some bacon. And since I'm already doing my sheet pan bacon in the oven at 350 degrees on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper on a rack, because I will be putting that bacon grease in my little bacon grease holder that comes with a screen so I can strain it. So I wanted some bacon grease. I was almost out of bacon grease. But I do have what is left of that package that did not fit on my sheet pan. So I'm going to just dice this up, and I'm going to put it over into my pan. I'm going to go ahead and just take a paper towel, and I'm just going to do a wipe. I didn't add any water. I'm going to gather up all that egg out of there. And I just love the non-stick, easy cleanup. It's amazing. Okay, so I got all of that egg out of there. So now I'm going to go ahead and use what's left. This was a large pack of bacon. It was a 24-ounce mega pack, And I used most of it in here on my sheet pan. Let me see if I can move you with my wrist, because I don't want to be touching things. Get you back over here. And I'm going to be making now some bacon in here. And I'm just going to be chopping it up in little chunks. So I'm going to be making some bacon, egg and cheese breakfast muffins. So I just want some small bits. I don't want them to be very big. So I'm just going to chop up some chunks. And these are going in muffin pans, so I don't want really big chunks, so I'm just kind of randomly chopping up bits, pieces, because these will fry up into nice little chunks. And that way I've used that whole thing of bacon. It was in the freezer. I took it out and thawed it in the refrigerator overnight. And now I'm turning it into breakfast. Multiple breakfasts. And again, this way I'm not wasting anything. I know I'm using it all up. And it's going to serve me for multiple meals. Would I recommend this particular pan? I absolutely would. And I'm not affiliated in any way. I just purchased it for my own use. And I'm very, very pleased with it. It's lightweight. It's going to be easy to store in the camper. It's not going to take up a whole lot of space. I like that it's non-stick. Okay, and I got a few more pieces. Let's go ahead and get them in there. And when I don't need of these for my breakfast, I can turn into crispy bacon bits for another meal. So this way nothing's going to waste. It's hard to cook for a family of 2 and not waste. So this way, and if you know, as well as I do, food prices are so high, we don't want to waste anything. And if we can save ourselves time, I know it's going to take me a while to get this all together today. But look at the time I'm going to save when I can go to my freezer and just randomly pull out a breakfast freezer meal that I prepared today on my bulk cooking. I could have had this cut up ahead of time and saved a little bit of time, but it will be alright. I've got all kinds of stuff to get done. Try and keep them all about the same size if I can. They're just randomly going in there. No big deal. me go wash my hands with. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and set that again on medium because it did heat up quite fast. I'm not going to put the lid on, and I'm just going to wipe my spatula because I'm going to be using the same spatula. You could use whatever you want to use, but all these are going to be going together as breakfast meals. Now, we're going to change. So let me go ahead and get those are going to be small. I'm just going to use the spoon. Because these are going to be small. And I'm going to get out another baking dish or two. My bacon. And this heats up quite fast. I went ahead and lined my dishes with a paper towel so I'll be able to drain this bacon. Oh, the house already smells amazing. Bacon and eggs. It's like walking into a restaurant. I wish you could smell that. I'm trying to focus on this, not on me. And I'm cooking from the side so you can see. So I'm a little bit awkward, but we will get this done. I went ahead and washed out my egg bowl. I'll be getting it ready for the next breakfast bulk meal, which will be the egg and bacon and cheese breakfast muffins. They're like a little bite-sized breakfast muffin. Oh, that smells amazing. So we have our eggs ready. And these will be going into one of my freezer meals. These will be one freezer meal each. This will be another freezer meal. Oh, it smells so good. I love the smell of bacon frying. I got bacon in the oven, and I've got bacon here, and oh, it smells just wonderful. It smells amazing. I'm going to turn that up a little bit. I don't want it to be flopping and burn me. So we can speed this up a little bit because we are on a live stream. I could have done all this ahead of time, but I just want you to see how much time it's actually taking me to prepare all these multiple breakfast freezer meals. And then I'll show you how many different meals I will be putting in the freezer. So if I'm in a hurry, or if I have something to do, it's easy for my husband just to go in and get a freezer meal, and he has breakfast. And we've been very busy between here at home and the new property. So this comes in so handy. And I usually make breakfast casseroles, so I'll have breakfast casseroles in there. This gives me a variety of different breakfast meals. We'll have the breakfast muffins, breakfast casseroles, and then I'm going to make up individual breakfast meals. And I'm just browning these up for the muffins. I'm doing bacon, egg, and cheese muffins. Breakfast muffins. So we are getting this done this morning. Amazing, awesome. And I like this because I can enjoy a little bit of my coffee. And maybe it won't get cold while I'm working on it. I could have put the lid on to keep it from flopping, but it'll be okay. I do love this lid holder. That is so convenient. So if you do or are cooking something that has steam or grease, you can put your lid up there and it's just going to drip right back into your pan. That's amazing, a nice little amazing feature on this frying pan. And this is the Beautiful frying pan by Beautiful. Now, I'm not going to overcook this, but I do want them to be just a little bit crispy, because these are going to be put in an egg muffin, and then they're going to go in to the oven. I'm going to put them in muffin pans, and then they're going to go in the oven and be baked. But I want it to be nice and brown, but not overcooked. I'm not making bacon bits. We're almost there, guys. See how quick and easy that was. Alright, I think just a couple more minutes and I'm going to call that well done enough for the bacon. Again, these are going in muffins, and the muffins are going to be baked. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off because this pan does get hot. And I don't want to overcook this. Oh, doesn't that just look amazing? Just look at that bacon. This pan does an absolutely amazing job. I'm very impressed. Okay. Now, I'm going to get my bacon into my little bowls that I lined with paper towels. And I didn't know if I need 1 or 2 bowls. So I went ahead and got 2. I think I can get all this in 1 bowl. And I'm just going to let that drain just a few minutes while I get ready to start on my next thing. Now that bacon grease that's in here is not going to go to waste at all. Absolutely not. Because that's going to be the next part of my breakfast. And if I have a few bacon pieces in there, it is not going to be a problem. I'm trying to use a spoon so I can scoop a good bit of it out. I think I got almost all of it out. Alright. So we're going to let that just set and drain. So now, I'm going to keep this spoon in those wonderful home fries that I made in advance, like on my live stream yesterday, that I had steamed in the crock pot, let them cool in the refrigerator, let them cool, then put them in the refrigerator overnight, took them out yesterday on my live stream and turned them into home fries. These are going to become another part of my freezer breakfast meals. And I've already got bacon grease in there. And there goes those wonderful home fries. Right in that bacon grease. And I'm just going to come and stir them all up so they all get coated really good with that wonderful bacon grease. I love bacon grease. When I do them on my Blackstone, I love to have some bacon grease to add to the grill. Okay, now I'm just going to let those brown. I've got them on medium. So we'll come back and take a look at those here in just a few minutes. So now we're going to come back over here. And again, I'm not moving too fast because I'm so limited on my space here. When you're remodeling, you do the best you can. Alright, and now I'm going to go ahead and get some more eggs ready. Get ready to start on my next part of this breakfast, this big bulk breakfast, and this is going to be the muffins. And these are going to be bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast muffins. And I'm going to go ahead and use 10 eggs, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Let me get one more. And 10. And I think 10 eggs works perfect for this. So do you enjoy making breakfast, bulk breakfast, sheet pan bacon, sheet pan eggs, or sheet pan breakfast meals or casseroles that you can have done ahead of time and have them in your freezer? I absolutely love them. And for a family of 2, it really works out nice for us. If I'm in a hurry, or I'm going to have a busy day, or if I'm just not feeling well, my husband still needs to eat. So I do have all of this already prepared, because you never know, as you get older, you may not have a good day and you don't really feel like making a big breakfast. So you can just go in and pull out one of your freezer meals that you prepared ahead of time, and you will thank yourself for doing this. Alright, 10 eggs. Now, I'm going to add just a little bit of milk. And I usually don't keep a lot of milk because it's just myself and my husband. And a lot of times my milk will go bad, even if I buy a quart. So I keep powdered milk. This is a whole powdered milk, and I also keep it low fat. So if I'm doing something like this, and I just need a little bit of milk, and I'm probably only going to need about a half a cup, I have milk. No. You need a cup of coffee. Do you need a cup of coffee? Hold on. My husband needs a cup of coffee. Hold on just 1 minute. Here. Bless his heart. We didn't want to come running into the kitchen. He's like, "Are you done?" And I was like, "Oh no, you need to call me." He said, "Yes, please." So let me get him a cup. Okay. I've got those eggs cracked, so let me go over here and we're going to check these home fries. See how they're doing. I don't want them to burn, but I do want them to brown. So I'm just going to give them a little stir. Can you see that? Whoops, you're probably not even down there. I'm just going to give them a little stir. And then I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit, not a lot, of olive oil in there, just to make sure that they're good and brown. I want everything nice and coated. I wanted to use that bacon grease to get that bacon flavor. And then I'm adding olive oil. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then I'm going to stir those up really good. And I'm just going to let those brown. Maybe a little bit more. Make sure all the sides are coated. And again, I'm just getting used to this particular electric skillet. So it's kind of trial and error with that. Okay, so now I'm going to go back over here to where we were at with the milk. So what I do is I keep powdered whole milk, and I keep powdered low-fat milk. And I know I'm only going to need about a half a cup. So this 4 tablespoons makes a cup. So I'm going to use 2 tablespoons, and that's going to give me a half a cup. And when I'm at the camper, this is amazing because I may be somewhere where I can't get to a store and I don't have to put milk in my refrigerator and worry about camper refrigerator space. So this is amazing for the camper. I use it all the time in the camper. And then I want to add 4 ounces of water. Because for a cup of this powdered milk, it's 8 ounces of water and 4 tablespoons of your milk powder. So I'm only going to be using 8 ounces, or 4 ounces, on my ounces here, There it is, 4 ounces. Because I'm making a half a cup, so I'm not doing the full 8 ounce. And I'm not using the 4 tablespoons. That's going to give me a half a cup. That way I'm not wasting. I'm just using what I need. And this, I love this brand. This is the Nesco brand, and I usually pick it up at Walmart. They sell it at Walmart. And it comes in a number 10 can. And I always put it in the quart jars. Number 10 can will fill 4 quarts with your milk powder. And then I just store it in my pantry in the quarts once I open it. Now with your whole milk, it has fat in it. So it's only going to last a year. So I don't overstock that in my pantry. I'll just buy 2 cans, the one that I know I'm going to be using, and 1 for backup. As long as I know that I'm going to use it within 1 year. Now, your non-fat, it will last for years. And I usually get the box of the non-fat that has the individually wrapped bags that are in the just slipped my mind. I'll think of it here in just a minute. And they're like in a Mylar bag. And because it doesn't have the high fat content, your 2% will last a lot longer. So if I'm not wanting something like the whole milk and I just want to use a 2%, then it works great. Or if I'm doing like a hamburger helper from scratch, I can use the milk powders. I can use the 2% or the whole milk. If I'm baking, same thing. So you don't even have to add the water and add the milk for your baking. You can just add your powder and then the equal amount of water that you would need and just mix it up in your cake mixes or whatever it is that you're making. Okay, I'm just going to get these all mixed up together. And then these are going to become my muffins, my breakfast muffins. And we're going to do the bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast muffins. I did ham, egg, and cheese breakfast muffins. And I think on my thumbnail you'll see the ham, egg, and cheese muffin photo. And when you are making these muffins, breakfast muffins, you don't want to fill your muffin pan all the way to the top because these muffins will expand as they bake in the oven, and then when you take them out of the oven, of course, they're going to deflate. So keep that in mind whenever you're filling up your muffin pans. Just want to make sure I get everything all mixed up together. And then I'm going to go back over and check my potatoes. And we might just go ahead and get those turned on high. I'd like to see. And I want to check my bacon in the oven. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you. It looks wonderful. Okay, I'm going to make me a little bit of room here. Because I'll be getting those out. Let me see how these are doing. Again, I'm trying to monitor the amount of oil I have in there. I'll go ahead and spritz them one more time. I don't think it's going to hurt a thing. Just give them a good little spray and stir. Alright, those are coming along great. Okay, now, for my breakfast muffins, I'm just using the silicone muffin pans, and I've got them on a cookie sheet lined with aluminum foil. So I'm going to make myself just a little bit of room here. I'm going to go ahead and move my trash out of the way. Let me go ahead and pick up the rest of this over here. And then I can just move it to the side. And I'm going to just move this out of my way. That'll give me a little more counter space so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to go ahead and start getting these muffins ready. Got the, I'm going to go ahead and get me a place ready. I'm going to be pulling my bacon out. I'm going to let you look at the bacon. And it may be plenty done. I'm going to give that just a few more minutes and we're going to call that done. Doesn't that look amazing? One turn in the oven. And I'm going to set a timer for about 10 minutes. And we'll be able to pull that bacon out. And I'm going to turn this. Now I'm going to leave it on medium because I'm filling this up. I don't want to overdo it there. Alright, now I'm going to be putting my muffins together. I'll be using a little spoon or a dipper. I've got 10 eggs whisked up and I added a half a cup of whole milk just to give it a little more creamy. I just want to make sure those eggs are whisked really good. And we brought up the bacon bits and the electric skillet together. You got to see me do that. So these are going to be bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast muffins. How good will that be? I wish you could smell my kitchen right now. It smells like a restaurant. My husband's going to have a variety to choose from. He'll have a breakfast buffet this morning. Well, brunch. We'll have a breakfast brunch buffet. Okay, and here's the bacon bits that we did in the electric skillet. Now I'm going to go ahead you could spray your pans. I just take a little bit of vegetable oil, or you could use olive oil or whatever type oil that you want to use. And I just put a bit of oil in a bowl. And let me get a brush. And then I individually brush my pans. That way I'm not overspraying, have the overcast, and I know that I'm evenly greasing all these pans. I just get all my sides, get my bottoms, and this way I know my muffins are not going to stick. These are silicone and they may not stick, but because it's an egg muffin, I always make sure I do put some oil in there. And again, you could just use a spray and just wipe off your overcast if you don't want the overcast. But this way I know that every muffin pan is getting nicely greased and I don't have to wipe off the overcast. And it only takes a few minutes to do that. It just makes it easier to clean up, in my opinion. And if you're as busy as I am, if it can save you time and clean up, it's worth it. And the puppies are now sleeping. We have all 7 8-week-old Maltese puppies, and I made them a big playpen in the living room. And I let them play and romp. They've had their breakfast. And Mama is almost completely done weaning them. She didn't even go in at all with them yesterday. So we're getting ready to get them ready for rehoming to their new wonderful loving homes. And that's going to be bittersweet. We just so enjoyed them. They're just cuteness overload. 7 Maltese puppies, 8 weeks old. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of give them all one more little, just to make sure I got everything all good. And then we're going to put these muffins together. And I'm just going to add that grease right into this pan with my potatoes over here. Just a wee little bit of grease. It's not going to hurt anything. I'm going to stir my potatoes. Get them home fries stirred up a little bit. Oh, those are looking wonderful. All right, so now we've got our egg mixture. It's just 10 eggs, and I think those are grade A large, extra large, sorry, extra large, and I put 10 eggs in, half a cup of milk, and I just want to have a nice little, the milk I think makes it a little more fluffy, because I'm turning these into a breakfast muffin. And that'll help it be more fluffy in the oven. Alright. Give it one more really good hard whisk, just to make sure we're all blended really well. Alright, now let's get some muffins put together. Breakfast muffins. Alright, now I could add, if you want to add your bacon into your egg mixture at this point, you can do that. I'm not going to do that because when I do the bacon or or any of the muffins, I want to make sure I have about the same amount, just like I did when I made my ham and cheese muffins. I want to put a little scoop into each one. That way I know each one's getting about the right amount, about the same amount. And I can evenly divide it up. Let me take a towel. That bacon on the bottom has a little bit more grease. See if I can dab a little bit of that grease out there. And that amount that I did is going to work out perfect for these 12 muffins. And that was just what was left over. That would not fit on my baking pan, so I didn't have an exact amount. So I did show you what I had. And I'm just going to kind of check them and make sure that all of them have about the same amount. And I don't want to waste, so even these little tiny crumbs are going to go in there. There, I think everything looks pretty even. I'll show you them here in just a minute. And that way it kind of gets everything all evened out. Let me wash my hands. Give my potatoes a stir. Oh, these are looking wonderful, guys. Looking amazing. Okay, now, I've got all of my pans with about the same amount of bacon bits or pieces. They're not really bits that we did in the electric frying pan and drained. So now I'm going to use a scoop, and again, I don't want to fill this all the way up. So, because the reason I don't want to fill it all the way up is because when you're making these muffins, your breakfast muffins, your egg is going to expand up. And I don't want to overflow my muffin pans. So, you don't want to fill these all the way up. So let's see if I can do this gracefully. No promise, I usually make a mess, but let's see how it goes. And usually 10 eggs and a half a cup of milk works out perfect for 12 muffins. And I probably want to pull my bacon out of the oven. So as soon as I get this done here, the oven will be open and ready, and I can move these right into the oven. And there's my timer. That's going to work out perfect. Perfect. Turn that timer off. Oops, I didn't turn my oven off. I didn't want to do that. Goodness. Alright, let's go ahead and remove that bacon. Oh my goodness, that looks amazing. Just look at that bacon. Don't that look amazing? Get that on my cooling rack here. That's going to open my oven up, so when I'm ready to put these in, my oven is going to be ready. So that works out perfect. And it looks like this one has a little less, so what I'm going to do is check all of them and take a small spoon and I can probably take a little bit from this one just to make that one even. I can take a little bit from this one. And yes, I'll usually make a mess. I usually do. I'm not perfect. I've never claimed to be perfect. I'm far from perfect. Alright. So now, I'm just going to take my damp rag and I'm just going to clean up any of that I made a mess with on top. And that pretty well has the same amount. If I would have went with 12 eggs, it might have been okay. But I don't want these to be full because I still haven't added my cheese. Because these are bacon, egg, and cheese muffins. So I don't want them to be any fuller than that with my egg mixture. And I'm going to be using some shredded cheese. And I'm going to be dropping that right into each one. And you can see how much that fills that cup up whenever I add that cheese in there. So I didn't want those to be any fuller than that on that egg mixture. So usually 10 eggs works perfect on that. And I like to put everything in individually that way. I mean, you could put all this together, your egg, your cheese, your bacon. I just like to do it this way because that way I know I'm getting about the same amount of bacon and egg and cheese in each muffin. Alright, these are ready to go in the oven. My bacon just finished, so that worked out perfect. And I still have this much cheese left over, but we're going to be using that. Okay. And now I'm going to put these in the oven until they're nice and brown. 350 degrees. Alright, so now let me wipe up this little bit of a mess. And we will go back over and get the potatoes done. And then we're going to put those breakfast meals together. Breakfast freezer meals. Okay, so I'm going to bring you back over here, but let me go ahead and put some water in that dish, just to make my cleanup a little easier. I like to keep up with the things that I'm putting together in the kitchen. And just add some water because it makes it easier whenever I'm doing my cleanup. So I just add a little bit of water, let it soak, and that way whenever I go to do my cleanup, I can just go through and get everything wiped out and put it in the dishwasher. And my big day of cooking is all done, and the dishwasher does the rest. All right. Again, just look at that bacon. Don't that look amazing? Oh, that just looks delicious. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just leave that set. And we're going to come back over here. And we're going to check these potatoes. I don't have a way to do this all at once so you can see everything. So just look at those hash browns. Looking nice and brown. Hopefully you can see that okay. And I'm going to call that done because I don't want to overcook these, because they've already been cooked in the crock pot whenever I steamed them. So all I wanted to do was to brown them a little bit. And I don't want them over browned, so we're going to call that done. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Now we're going to get back over here. And we're going to put together a couple breakfast meals. And I'm going to be using just these aluminum pans. I picked these up through Walmart, and they're inexpensive, and they came with the plastic lids. So I'm going to make some freezer meals for myself and for my husband. So let me get everything out here. I have the scrambled eggs that we made earlier. I have bacon. And let me get some of these potatoes together. Look at those wonderful potatoes. We've got potatoes. We've got one more dish. Putting these potatoes in bowls. I'll be right back on that side in just 1 minute. right. Just look at those wonderful potatoes. And those are the home fries I was working on my live stream yesterday. So this is showing you how I use some of the different meals. Hang on just 1 second. I don't know what I did. There we go. This thing has all new stuff, and I touched my phone and it was telling me effects. We don't need any effects. I do enough effects on my own. Okay, so now I'm going to put a couple breakfast meals together, and these are just freezer meals. If I'm busy or I just want a quick meal, I can go in and get these. So I'm going to start off with some eggs. I made the scrambled eggs, and this is just a basic scrambled egg. I probably want the biggest one there on top. So this is going to give, and my husband's a big eater, so he does eat a lot. So he does have large portions. So I'm going to add a little bit extra on his. Okay, so there is his eggs. And then that's going to leave me enough for one more. And then I'm going to add some home fries. Now I'm going to add some bacon. And my husband, like I said, is a big eater, so he gets a very large portion of bacon. I don't eat as much, so I'm going to do a smaller portion of bacon. And then that's going to leave plenty of bacon for a third meal. So that's going to give scrambled eggs, bacon, home fries. My husband sometimes likes cheese, sometimes he doesn't. So I normally leave this without the cheese, because then if he does want the cheese, whenever he goes to reheat this, he can remove it from the tray and put it on a plate and heat it in the microwave once it's been thawed out in the refrigerator overnight. But then I'll put these in the freezer. I'll put the lids on like this. Of course, I want to let these cool before I put the lids on. And then if I'm going to leave these in the freezer, because it is an aluminum foil pan with a plastic lid, I want to wrap this really, really good with plastic wrap, and that will prevent freezer burn. And then I can write on top of the plastic wrap that this is a breakfast freezer meal. Bacon, egg, and hash browns. So that's how I would put it in the freezer. But right now it's too warm for me to put the lid on, and I don't want to let them sit and cool. So that's two. Let me go ahead and get a third tray. And I ordered these trays through Walmart, and as you can see, there's quite a few trays in the pack. And they do come with the plastic lids. And I just ordered them through Walmart. And these are so handy if I'm in a hurry. So let me go ahead and put together the third one. So this will give me 3 freezer meals. If something happens that I'm not feeling good, or I don't have anything on my menu prepared, should I say. My hands are clean. I'm just going to kind of pick that up because it's the last one in the bowl. And I'm just going to put it right in. Make sure I got about the same amount of home fries in all of them. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the rest of my bacon. And usually I'm not much of a breakfast eater. My husband is a breakfast eater. So I try to prepare most of these for my husband. So now that's going to give me 3 bacon, egg, and home fried freezer meals for the freezer. And it hasn't taken me very long. That's why I didn't really do anything ahead, so you could see the actual time that it took me to prepare. So you would know about how long this would take to put together some breakfast freezer meals. And as a bonus, I did put this bacon on a cooking sheet with a rack lined with parchment paper. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to keep the oil. Let me just try and use it more. I may have to give them something else to pull that loose. I want to keep my bacon grease because I'm almost out of bacon grease. And I used the parchment paper. Still sticking a little bit. I used the parchment paper because it's going to help it to be easy clean up on that pan. And it's going to make it easy for me to store my bacon grease. So let me go ahead and just move these to the side. And I'll show you how I do the bacon grease. I have my little container, my little bacon container, and it does have the little screen. So that's going to screen any bits that may have fallen off of the bacon. And then I'm just going to take this, hopefully not make too big of a mess because I'm trying to do this where you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to let that pour right into there. If you don't have parchment paper, you don't need to use the parchment paper. I mean, that's completely up to you. But I wanted to show you how I do it. And it helps me as far as clean up, because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and pull this parchment paper off of here just to show you. Lay it to the side here. I can finish that when I'm offline. To show you how a little mess I have. I have very, very little mess in my pan for cleanup because I use that parchment paper. There's no burning. It didn't stick. I've got a nice clean pan. So that's going to make cleanup really easy. And my pans stay looking very fresh and very nice. Of course, there's going to be a few places where it touched maybe on the side. But, I mean, cleanup is just going to be so fast and so easy. Just nothing to it. So when I get ready to wash that with soap and water, that's going to be a very fast, very easy cleanup. Nothing stuck, nothing burnt. Fast, quick, easy. Okay, so then my little screen will catch any of that extra bacon bits that have fallen, and then I can slowly start building back up my stock of bacon grease, because I'm down to this much left of my bacon grease, and I love to use it in my home fries or on my grill, or if I'm just fixing, like tomorrow I'll be fixing some ground beans and cornbread. So if I want some bacon grease, then I've just saved my bacon grease by using a baking sheet, lining it in parchment paper, using the rack, laying my bacon on it like you've seen on my thumbnail and on here before I used it. So that way I'm using my bacon grease. And I don't know if you've had fried potatoes with bacon grease or the home fries today with bacon grease. And even out on the grill, I like to use the bacon grease on the Blackstone griddle because it helps to season your griddle, and especially if yours is new, like my griddle, my Blackstone grill. So anyway, there we have a lot of breakfast. Oh, and the cheese. Now, if I was making some of these for myself, of course, I would top mine off. Which one is mine? Here's mine. Mine's a small one. I would top mine off with some cheese, because I absolutely love cheese. So I would just go ahead and top my eggs right off with some cheese, and that way whenever I go to heat it back up, I know this is mine, it has cheese on it. Whenever I'm pulling it out of the freezer and it thaws in the refrigerator, I can look and mine will say bacon, egg, cheese, and home fries. My husband's will just say bacon, egg, and home fries. So that way when I'm pulling them out, I know which ones is particularly mine, and then which ones is my husband's. So does this save time? It absolutely does. And it has only been, how long have we been on here? An hour and a half. So in an hour and a half, I have 3 breakfast meals for the freezer. I have some fresh bacon grease for my container that I'm starting over with. And let me see how those muffins are looking. They're rising nicely. They're not done enough yet. So let me go ahead and bring you over here to show you this pan one more time. And this is the electric skillet that we were using. And nice non-stick. Just look at that. Easy cleanup. I have a few potato crumbs in here. I love that it has the lid holder. So if you're cooking something and there's grease on it or steam, you can just remove your lid, set it up here. Everything's going to run right back into your pan. I'm going to set that off to the side. And this is all the cleanup after all of those meals that I made. Oops. It helps if you unplug it too. With all of the meals that I made today, that's all the cleanup that I have. And that's all the waste that I have. So is that not amazing? Would I recommend this one? I really would. Again, this is made by Beautiful. It does have the lid holder. This one does come with a steaming rack as well, which I didn't use today. Take that down here a little bit. Oops, sorry. Making a little noise behind you. This one also comes with the steaming rack, and it does have the little feet on the steaming rack. So you can set it down in if you want to use this for steaming as well. But we did not use that today. We just used it regular. And this is only the second time I've used it. Would I recommend it? I absolutely would. It's a wonderful product. Again, I purchased that for my camper because a lot of times I don't have a lot of space on my small camper stove, and I don't want to heat my camper up. This I thought would be compact, easy to store, and I really liked the feature of having the lid holder. And I purchased this, I think, through Walmart, and it was not very expensive. It was very inexpensive. So if you go back on one of my live streams, you'll see this on one of my thumbnails, and it is made by Beautiful, and it is the non-stick detachable electric skillet, and I absolutely love it. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, so this is just my own personal opinion and review after purchasing it. And I can store it easy. It's going to be easy for me to put away and store in the camper, and it came in handy today, and I didn't have to heat up my mobile home, and it gave me oven space so that I could make the bacon on the sheets and on the baking sheet, and then as soon as it was ready, my muffins. So I'll let you see the muffins. They're not completely risen yet. But it will give you an idea. You'll get to see how they do inflate. So that's why I was careful how much I put in it. That gives me an opportunity to turn. I like to turn my muffins about halfway through, and that way I know that my oven's baking evenly. So that will be the bacon, egg, and cheese muffins. And you got to see the convenience of using the baking sheet with the parchment paper, and the benefit of using the rack and the parchment paper if you want to keep your bacon grease like I did today. So I thought I would come on and share that with you, and that's all I have today. And I have the wonderful breakfast meals. I've got the 3 egg, home fried, and bacon meals. And then I have bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast muffins. So that's how easy it is, and just look how delicious that's going to be. Just look at that. So that's going to be 3 breakfast meals that I can put in the freezer with those. And then I usually put 4 muffins, the breakfast muffins. I normally put 4 in a quart bag because that's more than enough if I want a couple muffins and my husband wants a couple. So I normally put them in a quart bag, and that will give me 3 breakfast meals of the muffins, because I made 12, and then 3 meals of the bacon, uh, home fries, and egg. And this also shows you how I use the home fries like I was using yesterday, how I had put them in the crock pot and steamed them and then let them cool, set them in the refrigerator, covered overnight, turned them into home fries. That's what I was doing on my live stream yesterday. So this is one way that I do use those home fries, and then I can constantly keep rotating my freezer because I put them in a quart bag, and a quart, as you've seen, made 3 breakfast meals for myself and my husband, and that gives us a very nice sized breakfast meal. And there you go. Quick and easy. It's in the freezer. Hey, who doesn't want to have an easy day? I know I do. I know sometimes I'm really busy and I could really use an easy day. And then this morning, I went ahead and I had pressure canned and preserved pork on one of my live streams, and I had saved the pork butt bone, so I put it in the freezer, and it's been in the freezer, and I took it out yesterday, put it in the refrigerator, and let it thaw. Well, tomorrow I want to make a large slow cooker or crock pot, whichever you want to call it, of brown beans. So I'm going to use this butt bone in my brown beans, but I knew it needed to be baked and then broiled. So I put this in this morning and baked it, and then put it on broil for about 15 minutes. So this is going to be put into my pinto beans tomorrow, and I'm going to let those just do a slow cook in the slow cooker, and then make a cornbread in the cast iron skillet to go with that, and maybe some more home fries. So that will be dinner tomorrow. So I went ahead and done that and got that ready, so that will be ready for my meal tomorrow. So anyway, that's all I have. And as usual, I'm sure my coffee's cold. It is, but I'm not surprised. So I hope this gave you a little bit of inspiration. If you only have a family of 2, like myself, you can go in and spend an hour and a half. You have 6 meals you can put in the freezer. And anytime that you're in a hurry, or you just don't feel good, or you just want quick breakfast, that looks so much better than breakfast at McDonald's or takeout. And you've made it in your own kitchen. You know what's in it. There's no preservatives, no additives. And just look at those beautiful, beautiful breakfasts. And of course, we're going to have the ham, egg, and cheese muffins. And then I also have made, last week I made blueberry waffles for my husband. So I have my waffles in the freezer for breakfast. And then I made a breakfast casserole. So I have blueberry waffles that I've made myself and put in the freezer. And we grew the blueberries ourselves on our 2 bushes we have. So I know what's in those. There's no preservatives. So I have blueberry waffles now for breakfast in the freezer stocked up. I have I have 3 of the breakfast egg, home fries, and bacon breakfast meals for the freezer. I will have 3 quart bags with 4 muffins each. So 3 meals of the bacon, egg, and cheese muffins. Let me take a look at those. I don't know if those are going to get done in time, but I can show you one more time. Oh, they're just looking delicious. These are probably not going to get done in time, but I'll leave them in there until they brown. But those are going to be the bacon, egg, and cheese muffins. And I usually put 4 in a quart bag and put those in the freezer. So that gives me another freezer meal for breakfast. And then I'll make a casserole, and a pretty large casserole dish. And I normally have 3 servings. So that would be 3 meals of breakfast casserole. So that gives me a variety of different breakfast meals that I've made I cooked once. I used one 24-ounce package of bacon. And as you can see from my live stream, it was a mega pack, and it was a 24-ounce. And as you can see from my thumbnail today on my live stream, I used most of that pack. I used enough of that pack. I cut it in half, and then I lined my cookie sheet, or my baking sheet, with parchment paper, put a rack in it, and on my thumbnail you see that was full of bacon. So I filled this with bacon first, then what bacon was left, I went over to my electric skillet, and I chopped up that bacon into small pieces, which became my bacon, egg, and cheese muffins. That's what I used in there today. And then I made the scrambled eggs in the electric skillet. Well, that was while the bacon was in the oven. And then after that was done, I fried the bacon bits, or the bacon pieces. And then when that was done in the electric skillet, I added the home frosty electric skillet with that wonderful bacon grease in it. And I've made all of these wonderful breakfast freezer meals. So that's the way that I try to stock up my freezer. And again, these are just inexpensive trays. I got them at Walmart. They do come with the lids. And if you're going to be using these in the freezer, you want to make sure you let it cool off before you put your lids on, or you can even put your lids on and let the air come out. And then once you fold down all your ends and get all this secure, make sure you wrap this in plastic at least twice. Just make sure you wrap this really, really good in plastic so that it doesn't get freezer burn, because it is an aluminum foil pan with a plastic lid. So it's not airtight. So by you using plastic wrap to wrap this, and then of course you can write on top of your breakfast meal, I would write, this is an egg and cheese, ham, and hash brown breakfast meal. So these pans I ordered through Walmart. They're very inexpensive. They do come with the plastic lids, and I think there was close to 100 of them in a pack, and they were not very expensive. And for a family of 2, these are amazing. They stack very well in the freezer. So I usually have at least 3 meals like this. Then I have my breakfast casseroles, and then I have my muffins. And I put the muffins in quart bags, and then they stack very nice. So I just wanted to show you how I cook for a family of 2 by 1 large meal, bulk cook. And that's basically all I have today. And then I have a little bit of cheese left over, and you know me, I don't waste. So this is going to go in my meal that I'll be fixing day after tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing pinto beans with a pork butt roast that has been cooked and broiled in the oven. We'll be adding that to my pinto beans, doing a slow cook in the slow cooker tomorrow. And then I'm going to make a large cast iron skillet of cornbread to go with that. So this little bit of cheese will be used up. Probably my chicken, so okay, so that's all I have. I just want to thank you for staying with me if you were here for very long. And if you haven't, and you do like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. I'm just a small channel. I enjoy coming on and cooking, baking, and just sharing different things that we do on a regular basis. And of course, we still do have our paranormal part of the channel. So, if you like this kind of thing, please like and subscribe. I'm going to hop off of here. I'm going to enjoy my coffee. All I have to do is wait a few more minutes for those muffins. And oh my goodness, they're looking amazing. Show you one more time. And then I'm going to give them about 3 or 4 more minutes in the oven. And just look at those beautiful bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast muffins. Okay, so let me go ahead and get those back in there. And my cleanup is going to be quick and easy. And I'm going to get off of here and enjoy the rest of my day. And the puppies will be waking up from their nap. And I'm sure the big mom and dad is going to need to, do their things. So, bye-bye everybody. Thank you for stopping in. I hope you enjoyed this. And as you can see, this is different ways that I do use my hash browns and make different freezer meals. And I only have one large freezer in the back and then my 2-drawer freezer on my refrigerator. So I don't overstock. I know I have 3 breakfast meals that are egg, hash brown, and bacon. I'll have 3 breakfast meals that are bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast muffins, and I have 3 meals of breakfast casserole. So that gives me 9 meals, and they stack very nice in one section of my freezer, and that way I'm not overstocking. However, if I just want a quick meal, I can take it right out of here, and with it being in these little pans, I could actually warm this up in the microwave straight out of the freezer. But I normally just take them from the freezer to the refrigerator overnight and then warm them back up. So, that's all I have. I'm going to hop off of here and enjoy my day. And hubby is home today, and he didn't have an early breakfast because we were going to do all this. So he gets to have a brunch. So, I made sure we have some really full ones, and he's probably going to eat. It's going to be like a smorgasbord. He can have whatever he wants this morning. We have blueberry waffles that I have already frozen in the freezer that he may have with this, or he may want some of his cinnamon raisin toast that I made. And he will have a full course brunch. So anyway, I'm going to hop off of here and enjoy my day. Thank you for stopping by. I'll see you the next time. And enjoy your day. Enjoy your kitchen. Come in your kitchen and have fun. Try new things. Bye-bye, everybody. And I'll see you the next time. Bye.